WrestleMania 24 is always one of those shows that holds a special place in the old semi-functional ticker of mine because this was the first WrestleMania that I ever watched with Tasteless Tony T. And this was the night that for the first time I ever met the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Brown. They came over to my apartment there in Waterloo, Iowa. We sat there along with Smokey and Precious and Feisty, and we watched WrestleMania 24 on the old Schleg Daddy Tron 12,000, the big screen. So, in a sense, this is a special WrestleMania for me because I remember it being really that first kind of time that several members of what would be the future Off the Rope show and OTRS Central got together to watch a wrestling show. And it was right here, WrestleMania 24. Now, as we go through this review, I'll kind of tell you our impressions then and what my impressions are now. They're pretty much the same. I will tell you this. I've been surprised over the years how many people thought this was a really good WrestleMania or a great WrestleMania. I didn't see it then, and I still don't see it now. Now, I will say visually, from a visual standpoint, they did a tremendous job of straightening up that dump, the Citrus Bowl, and making it look like a WrestleMania set. I mean, it looked outstanding. Visually, it was one of the best WrestleMania sets I think they've ever done. It was outstanding. I could not overemphasize that enough. It was outstanding. But I've heard a lot of people say that there were a lot of great matches on this card, which I don't see. I've heard a lot of people say that this really felt like a WrestleMania in terms of the bigness and the importance of the matches, and there were only a couple that I really saw that. My impressions in 2008 were that this was a show that could have been so much more. This was a show with dumb card structure. This was a show with some dumb matches. And this was a show that will ultimately be remembered for one thing. How in the fuck could the WWE not have envisioned that and planned accordingly? Those are my impressions back in 2008. And those are my impressions still in 2014 as I go back and watch it again. Not one of the worst WrestleManias of all time, and definitely not one of the best. Kind of just fits into that middle of the pack, frankly. But at least it has some memorable matches, and it does have some memorable moments. Now, you kicked off with Finlay and JBL in this Belfast Brawl, and to me, I thought this was kind of dumb back in 2008, but over the years, as I go back and watch it, you know, I always watch all the WrestleManias over every single year, and this match is growing on me a little bit. I thought it was a fun opening match, you know, that type of physical match that sets the table well for WrestleMania. Involvement of Hornswoggle here is what it is. But an okay match here. You know what? An okay WrestleMania opener. Not special, but just okay. Then you get the Money in the Bank ladder match. This was a really good Money in the Bank ladder match. I always remember Tony, this was when I learned something from him. He was talking about with Shelton Benjamin. He said Shelton Benjamin's in there to give you that 2 to 3 oh shit moments and then get out of the fucking way so somebody else could win. And what did you know? He was fucking right here, too. You've got CM Punk, Shelton Benjamin, Chris Jericho, Carlito, MVP, Mr. Kennedy, John Morrison. And back at this time in 2008, I thought they were going to go with Shelton Benjamin, or I thought they were going to go with MVP. And then this is kind of where it seemed like they started to get the idea of going with a complete and total surprise by having CM Punk win the Money in the Bank ladder match. And I just kind of remember as this happened, I sat there and said, they went there. Really. It was kind of cool. You know, I was happy for CM Punk. I wasn't sure that a guy like him was ever going to get treated like a big-time star in the WWE, so I was like, you know, it's kind of cool and it's kind of nice, but it caught me off guard, and I didn't necessarily agree with the decision then, but I didn't nearly have the same problem with it as I did the next year at WrestleMania 25. But a really good Money in the Bank ladder match, and any Money in the Bank ladder match with somebody like Shelton Benjamin in it is always going to be better to me. Then you had the Raw versus SmackDown brand match, a kind of giant versus giant match, if you will, Batista and Umaga. Kind of okay. And that's about it. You had an ECW championship match that was set up earlier on the pre-show where Kane eliminated Mark Henry last to win the Battle Royal to get this ECW championship match against Chavo Guerrero, and then he proceeded to beat him in like 11 seconds. I don't know why they felt it was such a good idea to have Kane come out and beat Chavo in 11 seconds. If you were going to do that, why not go for 6? Why not go for 7? Why not go for 8? Why do 11? I don't know. It's just odd. It seemed to reek of me of poor time management and poor card structure to sit there and say, we've got to have one of our belts, and it's got to go 11 seconds. And that just shows you how ECW as a brand was viewed by the WWE and Vince McMahon at this time. This kind of just is a spit in the face to all those people like me who grew up watching ECW in the mid to late 90s and the early 2000s. It's like, oh, you used to love it. This is what we're making it. Hak tui. And to which I say, hak tui to you. Fucking A. But what really makes me think about fucking A is the fact that in the middle of the card, the geniuses involved with the WWE and the piecing together of WrestleMania 24 decided that, hey, with all the story behind it, with the fact that the two participants are fucking Shawn Michaels and damn it, Ric Flair, that sounds like a perfect mid-card WrestleMania match to me. Oh my God. The match itself, though, it's basically like Ric Flair is a shell of his former self, and Shawn Michaels went out there and did everything he could to make Ric Flair look great in his last go-round in the WWE ring. But there's more to that. This match told an incredible story. And the build-up into this match, where Ric Flair had gone on a nice hot winning streak. The next time you lose, your career is over. And he's winning match after match after match, pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view. Now you get here to WrestleMania 24. Ric Flair's the headliner of this 2008 Hall of Fame class, and everybody knows deep down that this is it. This is the last match, and they've bestowed this great honor on him, being the first person that's still active to go into the Hall of Fame while active. But in this particular case, because of the participants involved, because of how this match was built up, to me it didn't matter so much in this particular case whether the match ending was predictable or not. And the way that it was set up with Shawn Michaels and his character, it played out that he didn't want to have to do it, but he knew if he had to do it, he would have to do it because Ric Flair would do the same thing in his shoes. And the storytelling here was tremendous. It was absolutely tremendous. When you talk about those great matches in WrestleMania history that also told a phenomenal story, this Shawn Michaels Ric Flair match here at WrestleMania 24 is at the top of the list. And when you get to that ending shot where Ric Flair is up like this, and you can see the tears flowing, and you realize that this is the end of the road, or so you thought, to one of the all-time great careers, and Shawn Michaels says, "I'm sorry, I love you," and then super kicks the hell out of him. What a WrestleMania moment. Something I will remember for the rest of my life, unless Alzheimer's or dementia robs me of my intelligence, if you will. Tremendous match, though. And it was such a shame you get this great, epic match and moment that had such a feeling of depth and gravity to it. And it's in the middle of the fucking card. And there's Ric Flair. It's going to be his last WrestleMania match. One thing to me he never did was main event a WrestleMania. Now you've got Ric Flair in the last match of his fucking career, and for some damn reason Vince McMahon and the WWE and the idiots in charge of this card structure decided that it wasn't worth putting this match on as the main event because, my God, we've got a triple threat coming up involving God and two other members of the Breakfast Club. Something else will be able to follow this match, and nothing could fucking follow this match. It was a pattern. And they did the same damn thing involving Shawn Michaels the next fucking year. Here's a clue. And I'll throw this out there to all of you. In a perfect world every year, yes, a world title would main event your WrestleMania. It would main event your biggest show of the year. But damn it all, there are certain times and certain reasons for that not to take place. Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania 18 is fucking one of them. It's one of them. Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, WrestleMania 24. If Flair loses, his career is over. That's another one. So you sit there at the end of this damn match, and Flair's career is over, and the crowd realizes it. Gets this tremendous standing ovation. You can see the emotion on his face. You can see the emotion on the fans' faces. His family's face there at ringside. And then he walks off, and it's like, that would have been such a great moment to end a WrestleMania. And it was just buried in the middle of the show. Because up next you had the Playboy Bunny Mania Lumberjill match. Oh boy. Now, as much fun as Snoop Dogg was on this WrestleMania 24 show, and as much fun as Snoop Dogg was involved with this match, I didn't care. And the reason I didn't care was because I had gotten so emotionally invested in what had happened before that no matter what was going to come up next, I didn't fucking care. And I really didn't fucking care when Randy Orton, John Cena, and Triple H went out there and, in my opinion, stunk up the joint in their triple threat match for the WWE Championship. And why do I say they stunk up the joint? Because ultimately, if they couldn't get the crowd involved, which they failed to do, then they failed in their objective. And why? Because if it was because it involved Orton and Cena and Triple H and they thought this deserved a higher place on the card, or was they thought that Michaels and Flair wasn't going to steal the show for whatever fucking reason? Nobody gave a shit about this match. One of the most completely forgettable, WWE or World Heavyweight Championship matches in WrestleMania history, bar none, period. A lot of people even forget that you had a Breakfast Club triple threat at WrestleMania 24. That's how stupid the placement of this match on the card was. That's how stupid the overall card structure was. It truly was. You've got a WWE Championship match featuring 3 of your top guys, and nobody fucking remembers it. And a lot of people don't even remember that Randy Orton walked in the champ and left the champ. When people sit there and say, well, Triple H walked into WrestleMania 16 as a heel champ and he left a heel champ, and then The Miz did it at WrestleMania 27, we forget that Randy Orton did the same fucking thing at WrestleMania 24. That's how dumb this match was. That's how stupid its placement on the card was. That's how stupid the card structure for this event truly was. When you've got a WWE Championship match, you don't even remember the 3 participants, and you don't even remember the fact that a heel walked in the champ and he walked out the champ. Ding dong, dumb dick match, dumb dick booking decisions all around to be had. But it got worse to me. You had this whole thing heading into WrestleMania 24 of here's Money Mayweather and here's the Big Show. Dumb. Dumb, 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 dumb. You're going to take the world's largest athlete and make him look like a jackass. Really? And this was dumb. This took way too fucking long. This was awkward. This is like Inoki versus Ali. It sounds great on paper until it actually comes shit to get time. It was fucking stupid. I hated this. This was so dumb. This was so disrespectful to the Big Show. This was so disrespectful that the WWE would sit there and spotlight and showcase a Floyd Money Mayweather. What the fuck was he going to do for their product? And I really don't think he helped that much in terms of the overall gate for WrestleMania. So why even fucking have it? Like I said, it may have sounded like a great idea on paper and in theory of bringing in a controversial individual, but you got a heel trying to out-heel another heel, a heel trying to out-heel another heel. It just didn't fucking work. It's one thing when you got face versus face, because ultimately the crowd either chooses or they get so into it because they're behind both guys. But when you do heel versus heel, what happens a lot of times? The fans tune it out. And you got fucking Floyd Mayweather knocking out the Big Show. Just dumb. And this was your semi-main event. Thank God that Undertaker and Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship was the main event on this card. This was an outstanding match. A very underrated match. Undertaker and Edge really tore down the house, and they saved the crowd. The crowd really got into this match. Problem is that this match also should not have main evented. Maybe should have been either second to last or third to last. Because by this point in time, everybody's emotions had all been sapped from them by the match in the middle of the card. Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair. One of the dumbest booking decisions ever, and I know I've kept harping on it on this show because it deserves to be harped on. It deserved to be harped on in 2008, and it deserves to be harped on for damn sure in 2014. In terms of match quality on this show, Money in the Bank match, really damn good. Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, outstanding. One of the best storytelling matches I've ever seen. Undertaker and Edge, outstanding. In normal years, a main event quality WrestleMania match. And think about it. Undertaker Edge main evented over Orton, Cena, Triple H. They main evented over the Breakfast Club. Just think about that for a second. But a lot of this show was forgettable. Kane beating Chavo in 11 seconds for the ECW title, stupid. Batista Umaga, ultimately kind of stupid. JBL, Finlay, nothing much there, just eh. The Playboy Bunny Mania Lumberjill match, just kind of dumb. Snoop kissing Maria was kind of funny, but Floyd Mayweather knocking out the Big Show was fucking stupid. And then the triple threat match for the WWE Championship, the ultimate of Vince and everybody backstage at the gorilla position, beating off to how awesome this match was, and everybody gave no shit about it. Like I said, historically, even now in 2014, people like me who take this shit far too seriously, that know far too much about this from a statistical standpoint, we forget that Orton walked in the heel champ and he left the heel champ here in 2008 at WrestleMania 24. Visually, an outstanding show. This is one of these examples, though, that the show looks really good until you start looking past the exterior and you start looking at the interior and you realize it's kind of infested by termites. That's what I kind of think of when I think of WrestleMania 24. But I will say, this show is still passable and didn't nearly disappoint me as much as the next year's, the silver anniversary WrestleMania 25.